G'day viewers, welcome back. This is a train gaming channel, right? So why would I have a GoPro up? Well, I also work on a real railway and I visit quite a few other railways from time to time, and every now and again I want to bring some of those experiences to you as well. So it's going to stay primarily a gaming channel because that's what you've all signed up for. But some of the other real life experiences are things that colour my gaming, and they give me the reasons that I think the way I do around games. What is realistic and what is not realistic. So I wanted to go out and get myself a new device for capturing the railway stuff, and I ended up settling on a GoPro 11. Now I looked at a lot of reviews on the internet for the GoPro and various other cameras. I'm not affiliated with GoPro in any way. They're not paying me. I'm just doing this. And I looked at lots and lots of reviews, and one thing I noticed is that the people were either affiliated with one of the cameras they were comparing against the GoPro, or they were affiliated with GoPro. And both those things make them biased, because they're effectively getting paid to do a review. It's not brilliant. And yes, I know that I take that with a pinch of salt because I'm an ambassador, and sometimes I do review games, but I do try and review them honestly, and you guys know that. I found one guy in Alaska that was similar to what I was doing, that wasn't affiliated to anybody. In fact, he took great pains to say he wasn't affiliated to anybody, and he took a series of cameras and he tested them side by side, and the GoPro gave the best results out of the little cameras. And I need something that's robust, because the railway environment is disgusting. It's hot, it's dirty, it's greasy, and I need something that's going to survive. Now, when I bought this thing, I bought it with the GoPro subscription. I don't like the subscription concept very much, but I understand why they do it. But there isn't an advantage to me in that it takes a huge amount of money off the camera as a discount, something you don't seem to be able to replicate through retail. And the other thing it gives you is if you kill one of them, you can actually get up to 2 of them a year as long as you're subscribed as replacements for nothing, which is pretty cool. All right, so what did I get in my pack? I got the camera, obviously. I got a thing called the Media Mod, which is basically a little mounting platform for the camera. You can put lights and things on it. I'm using it for the external microphone, and I'll go into that why in a moment. I've also got the Handler, which looks like something else. But anyway, it's a neoprene, very grippy thing. It's got a wrist strap that you can put on, and it happens to float. I don't think the floating thing will be that useful in railways, but you know, the other things are important. Now, the Media Mod gives you an external microphone. And the reason you need that is because GoPros have shitty sound. They pick up sounds from around the place. You notice I just ripped the battery door right off, and I'm now putting the GoPro into the Media Mod. All right, he's locked away in there now. And that means the GoPro is now using this external microphone, which is covered in a foam thing, which people in the industry often call a possum or a dead cat, especially if they're fluffy, and this one's not fluffy. Now, the reason you do that is because GoPros, through their mounting system, pick up vibration, and it's terrible. And they have horrible problems with wind noise with their built-in microphones. It's so bad that I don't know why they haven't done something about it. It's been like this right back since the start of GoPro. But I'm really pleased to say this thing actually solves the problem. Now, 2 things you need to do. Turn off the wind noise reduction in the camera. Just turn it off. It's crap. It really is awful. It does bad things to your sound. I like sound. Sound's important. And get this thing with the external mic. It makes it so much better. We'll have a look at some examples of that in a moment. The next thing I want to show you is one thing that I don't like. Here's a bunch of videos in a folder that I copied off the card. And these should be icons, as in thumbnails. Well, they're not. GoPro, Microsoft, pull your damn digits out. We need a 5.3K codec. I want to know what's on these things without having to open them all. Now let's chat about something different too, because I've had occasion to use it already. I did find a lot of people saying GoPro support was non-existent or crap. Well, I've had to use it because in my order I included a memory card. Not that I really needed another one, but you know, it was cheap. So I chucked it in the deal. It didn't come in the box. But I got onto GoPro support. I tried their web chat. That didn't work. So I requested a call back, and they called me back within about, 20 to 30 minutes, something like that. And I spoke to a person who got me to upload a photo of what I did receive in the box. and the packaging. And then she sorted it out, and the memory card's on the way. No arguments, no fuss, just it's on the way. So far, I reckon their support's actually pretty good. I've put a link to a video that I've got online, which is rendered at 2K from the 5.3K. I'm using cinematic 25 frames per second. In the native videos that you're getting off the GoPro, it actually looks fairly good. But if you go and watch that link, you'll discover that there are some artifacts, and they're not new. The old GoPro had them as well. I have to say they're a lot better. Now, I deliberately run in the wide, but not ultra wide or hyper wide or whatever it's called, because I don't like that squishy, curvy crap. I like my images to be proper. Now, rendering is a bit interesting. I use Kden Live to render. Kden Live really doesn't understand the 5.3K format very well. It can't render it, so I have to downscale it. Kden's downscaling works, but it does introduce some artifacts. So I think I might sometimes actually record in a lower resolution, and we'll see how that goes. But if you record in a lower resolution, you lose something that's really important, which is the horizon leveling stuff, which is quite critical. All right, let's look at some examples. This one is handheld in a fairly dark area. Cinematic mode, 24 frames per second. Now, I've got to admit, it's pretty awful. Its shutter speed is so low that the simplest movements are getting blurred. It's not a good start, is it? Low light is not amazing. All right, now this one, I'm just going to let you watch and listen for a moment. This one, the camera is mounted on the outside of the machine on a gimbal on an arm. Now this is where the media mod comes into its own. Do you notice a distinct lack of wind noise? I've got the wind protection features turned off, because frankly they're rubbish. But the media mod with its little foam thing and the proper microphone, doing an awesome job of being out in the wind. You'll also notice that in adequate light, the 25 frames per second is enough. It's okay. Alright, in this example the camera is mounted on a piece of metal that's vibrating a bit. And it's not affecting the rolling shutter as badly as it used to with the old GoPros, but it still affects this one a little bit, so it's better, but it's not amazing. So you need to be on a vibration-free surface. All action cams suffer from this, but you'll need to find yourself some kind of mount that dampens the vibrations. Alright, in this one it's getting brighter in the day. The camera is mounted again, but it's mounted in a way that minimises the vibration. And you can see the picture's actually quite clear, it's quite reasonable. So again with this one, we're quite much later in the day. It's got good light now, and we're mounted on the outside of the machine, directly to the surface using a magnetic mount. We can still see a little bit of the vibration artifacts, but overall the picture's actually quite nice. It does suffer a bit in the contrast between low light and high light. And that's natural for a digital camera, they all work that way. Its lens flare is tolerable, it's reasonable. It's not awful, you can see a bit of it coming from the right there where the sun's affecting it. And overall the image is pretty reasonable. I'm happy with it for such a small camera. And I think it'll meet my video needs pretty well. Righto, so I've got the camera connected to the computer via the USB-C cable. Now normally I copy stuff directly off the card, but I was curious to see how fast this was. So I've got 3 files, 240 meg, 236 meg and 379 meg. Let's drop them on. So I wouldn't say it's lightning fast, but it's not slow either. That's probably fairly tolerable through USB. Normally I'm copying off the card and it's much quicker than that. So what about that all-important vlogging mode? Let's find out what Chipmunk Me thinks. For this bit of the video I'm using the camera outside, there's a bit of noise. I can hear a plane, I can hear cars going past, and I can hear birds. Let me just shut up for a moment. So in this mode, we're front lit, very heavily front lit, and the camera's doing okay. When you go for a wander, the camera does seem to cope fairly well. You'll notice there's no wind noise at all, despite it being outside and it being a little bit there. The voice is not as good as coming through the professional microphone setup that I've got here, but it's quite reasonable, and you could process it into something really useful, I think. Now in this video we're in good light, so the picture quality is actually really good. So, like any camera, the better the light, the better the picture quality. There's still some artifacts as you move around. But I'm familiar with these from other action cameras as well. I have an Olympus action camera, and I've got the older GoPro to compare this to. So I don't find any of these things particularly unusual. This is handheld when I'm walking, so it's actually quite steady. So what do I think overall? I think I did actually make a good choice. I think it's a good machine for the kind of footage that I want to bring to people. It does cut down the wind noise really well with the media mod on. I think that's pretty much spot on, to be honest with you. And it's quite useful to use in vlogging mode. The front screen means that I can actually see myself when I'm talking. It means that I know that I'm framed reasonably well. And the ability to see it in the same 16:9 ratio that I publish in is quite handy for me, because it means that I know that if I can see myself on that screen, I know I'm in frame. And it'll be fine. I won't be cutting off my head or something stupid like that. Anyway, all up, I think if you're into RAWs and you want a small camera that's robust, and you got to take it with the disadvantages that come with such a small platform, that it's not perfect, of course. When you're running it in this wide mode, you'll notice that the straight lines are actually pretty straight. So I'm quite happy with that, and that's mostly done in software because the lens is curved buggery. But yeah, all up, I'm pretty happy with it. Just as a disclosure, I'm not affiliated in any way with GoPro or anybody else for cameras for that matter. So yeah, happy. If you want something, wouldn't be a bad choice. Have a look at it. All right. See you later.